Hey guys, it's Kaylee. I am back with another What Sold From Last Week video. If you're new here, every single week I come on and I share what is selling for me on both eBay and Poshmark. I do this for several reasons. One of them is to just keep track of my own sales, but it's also to help other people out, other resellers who are wondering what the heck is selling and why. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing my sales numbers, plus doing a deep dive into some of the specific items that sold for me. If you're interested in this type of content and you want to learn more, make sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every single time I post these videos. Let's dive into these sales. All right, you guys, this might be the longest what sold video that I've ever done. There are more tabs than I've ever seen at the top, so I'm going to move pretty quickly through this. But I did have a lot to show you guys, both in the selling for a lot and also just higher sell-through rate, with a couple of more bread and butter items as well. And some items that I priced way too high in the beginning and took forever to sell. So got a good mix of stuff here, and we're going to dive right in. So these sales, I am still a week behind, but I wanted to share this week with you. Happened between October 29th through November 4th. Total items sold were 233 items. My gross sales were $6,814.06. Those are just for the items. It does not include shipping, making my average sale price $29.24. So the week was a little bit slower. And my average sale price dropped slightly, but still, I can't complain. That is a really solid week, and we've been putting in a lot of effort, so it's nice to see these numbers consistently be higher, and hopefully we'll continue to maintain them throughout the rest of next year. I sold 147 items on eBay. My average sale price on eBay for the items was almost $33, so I was really happy with that. On Poshmark, I sold 86, and then my average sale price was about $23, so significantly lower. Surprisingly, my gross sales were exactly $2,000. Thought that was weird when I saw it. All right, let's dive into these individual items because, like I said, I got a lot to go through. All right, this first one on eBay is a designer brand that I highly recommend you get if you can get it at a cheap enough cost. It is LK. I don't know if it's LK Benet or Bennett, but here it is. I was lucky enough to find this one new with tags. I only paid $10 for it, which is pretty cheap for LK Bennett, only because it does, retail for a lot. You can see, I know it's not US, but the retail value here is hundreds of dollars. So really happy with that. And one of the things I like about this brand is even if you don't have the new tag, on the material tag itself, it always has the style name. So it's really easy to look up. This brand, there's not a lot on the pre-owned market quite yet, at least when I was looking this up. So I did comps on both eBay and Poshmark just to get a better gauge of things. I priced this at $95 and it did sell for my full asking price. So 10 into $95. It is a silk printed jumpsuit in a US size 14. So all really great things, great materials, substantial piece, and it was a larger size. It's new with tags, like really good factors there. Could not say no to that. All right, next up is another higher end brand I highly recommend you looking for. It is Ulla Johnson. I've sold a couple pieces of this now. I really like their aesthetic. This one is a bohemian, looks like a midi length dress. Probably should have put that in the title. But this brand sells lightning fast. Usually sells within weeks of me listing it, sometimes days. It has a really awesome following. I have sold it in bathing suits, in tops and dresses now. This one I listed at $100 and it did sell for my full asking price. Definitely keep your eye out for Ulla Johnson, and they tend to have, not always, but they tend to have really nice like prints. And I noticed a lot of their stuff has puff sleeves. All right, another designer brand. I am so excited to say that I have sold one of these now, although I have gotten all of these through wholesale. So I'm hoping to find one like on my own one of these days out in the wild. But this is Magnolia Pearl. I can't quite check it off my bucket list just because I didn't find it myself. But super happy to be selling these. So Magnolia Pearl if I were you, I would go onto their website and just kind of see the aesthetic of their brand, because it's kind of like grungy, distressed looking. Like, I just feel like if you saw it in the wild, you wouldn't know that it was a designer piece, so you have to know kind of what to look for. But this is a graphic t-shirt, which is one of their more popular items. You can see this does have distressing here at the top. I believe, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe most of their pieces are a one size, because from what I can tell, there aren't size tags on anything. But let me know if you know more about this. I listed this one. Let's see here. I'm confused because this says $100, but on my sold page, it says it sold for $115. So I'm not sure. I believe it sold for $115. I'm not sure what the discrepancy is here on this page. Maybe I relisted it and pulled the wrong item. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the wrong one. All right. Sorry, guys. I sold 2 graphic t-shirts recently. This one will be in the next video. I sold this one, I believe, for my full asking price of $100. Sorry to confuse you guys. I'm confused myself. So I guess there'll be another Magnolia Pearl graphic t-shirt in the following what's sold video. So this one, I believe, sold for my full asking price of $100, and it sold within days of being listed. Definitely keep your eye out for Magnolia Pearl. They sell tunics, they sell dresses, they sell a lot of stuff, jackets. But like I said, I would do some studying on what they sell, because if you don't, I feel like you might pass on it. All right, moving on from that. Sorry. The next one is a Yeezy item, and this is Yeezy sold at Gap, which is a pretty big bolo. And then the little label just says YZY, but you can tell that it is a Gap label. So keep your eye out for this. This was one of the thickest hoodies I've ever felt. It was super heavy, very high quality. Yeezy is a brand made by Kanye West, and you guys can help me down below in the comments, but I believe that his stuff used to be sold at Gap and got pulled from Gap, which is why these are a little bit more popular. But regardless, really awesome sale here. I listed this for $90. It has an incredible sell-through rate, and it sold on an offer to watcher for $76. And I mean, look at this. It's a plain black hoodie. If you saw this from a distance, would you look it up? I don't know. But once I felt this, I was like, I definitely would have, because it was so thick and heavy. All right, next up is a shoe brand I've been selling quite a bit of recently. It is Ariat. I think that this, like, I don't know. I feel like it's always popular, but just recently, for fall and winter, the boots have been selling really, really well for me. So this is called the 224 Darla ankle boots. I have no idea why the numbers are in the style name, but I did a lens and a style search, and that is indeed the style name of this item. These ones I listed for $75. They're just a little ankle booty, kind of plain, but they're still Ariat. So $75, and it did sell for my full asking price. Next up is a newer brand to me. It is Lilith. I got this one in wholesale a while ago, and I wasn't really quite sure how to price it, because when I did comps, there were very few that had sold or on the market at all. So I kind of had to make up a price. I listed it for $90. It has sat. It's a little like log and look midi dress. Really gorgeous colors on this one. And I have since dropped the price. It ended up selling for $65, which is still a great return on investment. But if I find this again, maybe I'll just go ahead and put best offer on it in the beginning instead of, pricing it for what I want to, just to get it to sell. But this brand does hold a lot of value. So I would definitely keep your eye out for Lilith pieces. All right, next up is a blazer. This is a Brooks Brothers blazer. In general, I like selling Brooks Brothers men's pieces. Their blazers definitely do well. This had quite a bit going for it. It was their Brooks Ease line. It was wool, and oh, we didn't show it here. Somewhere in here, there is a Loro Piana tag from the Loro Piano wool. And that increased the value quite a bit. We listed this for $70 and it did sell for our full asking price. I was honestly kind of surprised with the comps of this. I thought it would do a lot better. But I think, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the line or what. Loro Piana usually adds a ton of value. But I priced it based on where comps were and it did sell quickly. All right, next up is a newer brand to me. It is Pronovius. And this also came from a wholesaler. I have never heard of this brand before. We did some comps and saw that a lot of them were selling for quite a bit, especially these beaded ones. So if you see a Provonia's beaded dress, I would definitely say it's worth getting. I did expect to sit on this a little bit longer. Sell-through rate was not 100%, but like I said, the ones that were selling for quite a bit. So I expected to get it and then hold out. I listed this one for $65 and it sold on an offer to watcher pretty quickly actually for $55. So I thought that was great. Anytime I see something all over beaded or sequined, I always look it up when I'm in the thrift store. It doesn't always turn out that it's a good item to pick up, but definitely an indicator of quality. All right, next up, another indicator of quality is all over velvet. This is a Talbot's plus size dress. It is new with tags, it is velvet, and it is a midi length. All of those things really help to increase value, and velvet's really popular during this time of the year. So our jewel tones, anything that looks kind of more luxe, beaded stuff, people like to wear it for the holidays. So all of those factors stacked, particularly the fact that it was plus size, I think helped us sell it the most. I listed this for $60 and it did sell for my full asking price. So don't be skipping on Talbot's dresses if all of the right factors are there. Okay, next up is a brand I've been experimenting with. It is COS or COS. This is a line put out by H&M. I'm not sure if they still sell it. All I know is that it's like a higher end line by H&M, and some of their pieces sell well. I haven't quite figured everything out. Because it's not 100% sell-through rate, but there have been some pieces that I sell that sell for quite a bit, like this one. And then there are some pieces that sit, and I end up dropping the price so much just to get it to move. So I'm still figuring it out. But I will say the COS or COS pieces paired with good materials, I have noticed make a big difference. This is a linen blend long sleeve dress. I listed this for $60. It sold on an offer to watcher for $51. So really good sale on that. Like I said, really depends on the piece, but I think if you compare it with a good material, it can do well. All right, next up is kind of out of the box sale. This is Sims. Sims is a fishing line. This is a pair of like one suit waders. I don't know much about fishing stuff, but anytime I see like a full one piece, like bibs, overalls, suit, whether it's winter or hunting or fishing, I always look it up because more often than not, it's a pretty good item. So Sims, good following on this brand. This one I listed for $60 and it ended up selling on an offer to watcher for $51, and it is pre-owned. So very happy with that sale. All right, next up is a bolo you guys definitely want to look for. They are Disney Spirit jerseys, and I'm not sure if you know what a Spirit jersey is. I'm going to do my best to kind of show you the style, but it's basically like a long sleeve shirt, either a thick shirt or a sweatshirt. In my opinion, they're more like sweatshirts because they are thicker, and they tend to have, I can't really show you because we don't have the sleeves laid out. Maybe here. They have kind of like almost like a dolman sleeve. They come out quite a ways, very boxy, a little bit oversized, and the big indicator to me of a Spirit jersey is that silhouette, and then on the back there's usually something spelled out here. This one was a really nice one. So pretty much any Disney Spirit jersey I think sells well. This one was a little bit more special. It had all over like Christmassy print. Said snow much fun. I thought this was a really nice one. And it was a larger size as well in an XXL. Listed this for $50. It sold pretty much immediately. Maybe we could have priced it higher, but that's about what the Disney Spirit jerseys are going for. And then make sure to put Spirit jersey into your listing, because I do think it helps bring the right buyers to your item. All right, next up is a Patagonia piece. This brand's really dropped as far as both sell-through rate and average sale price on the market. However, some of their pieces still do well. I still pick up pretty much anything Patagonia. I'm not going to lie. Even the basic short sleeve t-shirts, they sell like 20, 25 bucks for me. But they have to have a lot of branding, I've noticed. So this one was a little bit more special. This is a Patagonia men's Tropic Comfort hoodie. It had a lot of like graphics on the back, and I did look up the specific style, which you can do using the tag or with a Google Lens. And it did have a pretty good sell-through rate. So this one I listed for $60, and it did sell for my full asking price. Definitely Patagonia men's still performing pretty well. All right, next up is a newer brand to me. This is A Day, not to be confused with A New Day. A Day performs really well. I believe it might be like an activewear brand. I'd have to double check on that, but all I know is that had pretty good comps. You can see it was designed in New York and made in Italy, and it just feels really high quality. They make kind of more minimalist pieces. This one I listed for $65, and it did sell for my full asking price. It was a size extra large long sleeve wrap top, so keep your eye out for it. I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think they had a lot of like convertible wrap pieces is what they're known for. But 65 bucks for a pre-owned top, like, come on, that's really good. So keep your eye out for A Day. Again, not to be confused with A New Day. A Day is a lot different, and one I'm definitely going to be on the hunt for. All right, next up is a brand I don't talk about often, but when I do, it is a polo. It is American Eagle, and pretty much any kind of denim overalls I'm looking up. So this is a denim flare overall in a size 20, which is a plus size. New tags. So great factor stacking on this, added a ton of value. We definitely overpriced this in the beginning. I think I originally priced it at like $65. I have since dropped the price because it hadn't sold yet and added best offer, and it ended up selling at my dropped price of $54. So great return on investment, but a lot of factor stacking. If you can factor stack, plus size with a substantial piece like overalls in this brand, I think it can do well. All right, next up is a shoe brand that I really like selling. It is Timberlands, both in women's and men's. This is a pair of men's Graydon sneaker boots. One of the things I love about shoes is you can just do a Google Lens and like pretty much immediately figure out the style name. So instead of looking up the style numbers, I just do a Google Lens on shoes, and it almost every time brings it up. So I was able to quickly look up comps for this. I originally did price this a little too high. I want to say I priced it at around $60, and it did not sell. I have since dropped the price, and I must have priced it correctly now because it sold at my dropped price of around $50. So very happy with that sale. These are also a men's size 9.5, which that's a pretty good size. That's pretty mid-range size. But it just goes to show that if you price, even $5 to $10 too high, you're going to miss on a sale, which is why I drop prices every single month for anything 90 days or older. Okay, next up is a designer handbag brand. I've really slowed down on this brand, but there are certain pieces that I like getting. I'll give you guys a tip. I guess, take it for what it's worth to you because it's just my opinion. But I've noticed that a lot of the designer brands, the ones that people are looking for are the like neutral classic colors, like pretty plain leather, classic colors. Those are the ones that sell the best for me. And Coach and Dooney and Burke. I'm trying to think of some other brands. Kate Spade, like all those ones that we used to bolo over. I feel like the plain ones the classics are what people are looking for. So, and actually I guess that would be true based on the Poshmark trends report that we just looked at. So that makes sense. All right, so this would fall under that category. It is black and brown leather, pretty classic tote bag. This one was called the Lexington tote bag. That's also something I like about the handbags. Very similar to the shoes is you can almost always Google Lens and figure it out. Obviously, you got to check for, signs of authenticity and stuff. But Google Lens can be your best friend for the like hard goods things. So this one was called the Lexington tote. Good keyword for this, and I'll pull this up so you can kind of see it, is pebbled leather. Anytime you see this textured leather, pebbled leather is a great keyword or grain into your title. So this one we listed for $50. It sold on an offer to Watcher for $42. And that was a really, really quick sale. I feel like 5 years ago I could have gotten $100 for that. But this brand has since dropped, but there's still enough meat on the bones, I feel like, to be able to make good money off of it. All right, next up is some factor stacking. This is not your daughter's jeans. This used to also be a bolo like 5 years ago. I could pick up anything, not so much these days. But this one had a lot of good factor stacking. It was brown suede. It was new with tags. It had the tummy tucking technology, and it was a size 10. So all of those things combined, still a great pickup. You kind of have to factor stack in this brand, or, make sure you look up your styles, but it can still be a good brand. I listed these for $50, and they did sell for my full asking price. Next up is a brand that is still performing well for me, even though it is more of a summery brand. It is Flax. They are known for their linen pieces. This is a linen cotton blend dress. Dresses in this brand, in my opinion, perform the best. They sell for really good money. I listed this one for $45, and it sold for my full asking price of $45. I'm still picking up everything in this brand right now because it is still selling, even though it is a linen brand. All right, next up, this is soft surroundings. I've noticed a huge uptick in soft surroundings, like I thought would happen once they pulled, or I guess shut down their physical locations and are starting to move online. Figured there would be an uptick in soft surroundings pieces because they're probably not going to be able to get these same styles anymore. And I was right. I have noticed a big uptick in it, and I was checking comps the other day and was really surprised at some of the the smaller sizes that were still performing well. So this one is a maxi length dress. We have a spelling error here. I'm still looking for midi to maxi length soft surroundings dresses and skirts. That has not changed, and I'm still looking for larger sizes. However, with the uptick in search for soft surroundings pieces, I am comping those smaller sizes now, because some of them, like I said, are performing well now. So I'm just going to keep a really close eye on those comps, make sure I don't get hung with a bunch of smaller items, but they seem to be doing okay. So this one was a size large. This is the Asteria Maxi dress. I listed this for $45, and it did sell for my full asking price. All right, next up is a brand that I also showed in that Poshmark Trends deep dive video. It is Quince. Was this on the sustainable brands? I can't remember. I think it might have been. They're really well known for their cashmere pieces. This is a cashmere ribbed midi length skirt. I listed this for $45, and it did sell for my full asking price. I've also sold a couple sweaters by them, so keep your eye out for this brand at Quince. All right, I showed this one in a recent thrifting tips video. This is Zarina. This brand in general has a very high sell-through rate. This one is kind of like Flax, where they make really gauzy, like summery pieces, but again, it's still showing really good results in the comps, so I am still getting it. This is a gauzy top, and it did have a small like pinhole in the collar line, but I still got it because, again, really great sell-through rate in comps. This one I listed for $35, dropped the price slightly just because of the hole, and it did sell for my full asking price. Otherwise, I probably would have priced this at $40. All right, this is a new brand to me. This is a swimming trunks brand called, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, Vilebrequin. I don't know, Vilebrequin. If you're just listening and you're not watching, I know some of you said you just put it on like a podcast while you drive. I do the same thing for YouTube videos. So I like to spell it out for you. But these are a pair of swim trunks, and they make really vibrant prints, and they have a pretty good sell-through rate. So again, a summer item that I'm still picking up. I'm not picking up all trunks. Definitely do your research. But the higher end brands like this one, I'm still getting. This one I listed for $45, and it did sell for my full asking price. All right, next up is a brand that I do like to get. I have never found their dresses, and then just recently I found like 2 or 3, and they've all been selling really well. So this is Sacred Threads. If you guys are familiar with them, they make a lot of like patchwork, hippie detail stuff. This one is a patchwork maxi dress, and they had a pretty good sell-through rate, and comps looked really good. I listed this one for $35, and it did sell for my full asking price. All right, this is another designer brand. It is A Piece Apart. This for me is very similar to COS or COS, where it retails for a lot, but does not have the best sell-through rate, and it really depends on the piece. So I'm still trying to figure out this brand, but in general, it's selling pretty well for me. So A Piece Apart. This is a puff sleeve peasant top in a size extra small or a 2. I listed this for $45, and it did sell for our full asking price. All right, next up, any kind of knit pants I am doing a comp on at the thrift store. That is kind of a niche category for me that performs really well. So I would definitely keep your eye out for knit pants, especially when they are a wool or cashmere. This is Mag by Magashoni, which is not a line that I was familiar with, but they are 100% cashmere. And honestly, regardless of brand, if I found any kind of knit cashmere or merino wool pants, I would just pick them up. Like in the knit material, I would just pick them up. I can almost guarantee you that they will sell. But this one was a pretty decent brand. So 100% cashmere, Mag by Magashoni. This one did have a small hole in the leg, which we knew when we picked it up. Otherwise, I would have listed this much, much higher, probably closer to like $60, maybe even $70 without the hole. But got the hole knowing there would still be some meat on the bones. We listed it for $45. It sold on an offer to watcher for $38 with a hole in the leg, guys. So look out for those knit pants. All right, this is a really niche goth brand. We talk about niche goth brands a lot. This is definitely one of them. It is Trip NYC by Dang Goodman. Trip is spelled Tripp. I would just say if you find this brand, I would just get it. I mean, some of them don't sell for a lot. Some of them sell close to $100. It depends on what you have. If you find the like goth pants, those are going to sell for a ton. But all of it in general does pretty good. This is an owl dress in a size 4X. I listed this one for $38, and it did sell for my full asking price. All right, next up, an outdoorsy brand that I still love getting. It is Cool, Kuhl. This is a women's Petra turtleneck sweater. Never found this style before. Listed this for $35, and it did sell for my full asking price. Cool in general has dropped as far, it's kind of like Patagonia where it's dropped in average sale price, but in my opinion the sell-through rate's still really good. It's just, more of a bread and butter for me now. All right, this is a Lululemon skirt. I'm still having pretty good luck with the Lululemon skirts, so I continue to pick them up. This is called the Lost in Pace skirt, and I listed this for $40. There was a small discoloration kind of throughout it. It still sold on an offer to watcher for $34. All right, this is a newer brand to me. It is Matthew Williamson. This kind of goes along with that, like be on the lookout for knit pants. Any kind of silk joggers I would also be on the lookout for. Good materials with styles like wide leg or joggers that are doing well. So this had some factor stacking. I'm honestly not 100% sure if everything in this brand is good. I just know that these were silk joggers, so they're probably going to sell well. I listed these for $40. They sold on an offer to watcher for $34. Next up is a men's jeanswear brand that does pretty well for me. It is G-Star Raw. Usually it just has a G and says Raw, but they do tend to have their style names on the inside. It really depends on the style you get, but in general, I would say it's a pretty good bread and butter men's jeanswear brand to pick up. These were called the City Shield 3D Slim Tapered Leg Jeans. They were also black, which I think helps to add some value. I listed them for $35. They sold on an offer to watcher for $30. All right, another designer brand. This is Veronica Beard. This is Veronica Beard Jeans, which is kind of like a diffusion line, especially since this is a top, but lots of value and following in this brand. So I pretty much pick up anything Veronica Beard. This is a scoop neck linen shirt in a size extra small. I listed it for $35 and it did sell for a full asking price. All right, this is one I priced too high and have since sat on, very similar to Patagonia and Cool. The North Face has really dropped in terms of pricing, but I still think if you price it correctly, it can sell quickly. This is a men's pair of convertible hiking pants. Like I said, I think I listed this too high in the beginning. I think I listed around $50. I dropped the price during my monthly price dropping, and then it sold for my full asking price of $36. So not bad. All right, next up is a belt. I like showing belts when I can. This is John Varvatos. This is a menswear brand that I love to get. This might be the first time I've sold a John Varvatos belt, and it did pretty good. We listed it for $35, and it sold on an offer to watcher for $30, which is great for a pre-owned belt. Next up, this is Rapha, R-A-P-H-A. This brand has a really great following. Really depends on the piece as to how much you're going to get for it. This is a men's polo shirt. I listed this for $35 and it sold for my full asking price. Some of their pieces go for a lot more. I would just keep your eye out for it, but in general, a really great bolo brand with a good sell-through rate. All right, this is another one I priced too high in the beginning and have since dropped the price, but this is a style I would look for. This is Steven New York, kind of the same designer as Steve Madden. And some of their boots do pretty well in both the Steven and the Steve Madden. This style with the blocky, chunky heel at the bottom and kind of a combat boot is really popular right now. So I thought it would be good. It did have quite a bit of wear throughout, which you'll see we noted all throughout. I listed them, I think, originally at $40. I've since dropped the price and they sold for $28, which is pretty good for boots with a lot of wear. All right, next up is another cashmere piece. This is a bolo for me. I'm going to start calling these seasonal bolos because Charter Club is not typically a good brand, but in fall and winter, their cashmere pieces go crazy, really great sell-through rate, perform really well. Sometimes you can get quite a bit for them. So this is a women's size large cashmere cardigan. I listed this for $35. It sold on an offer to watcher for $30. And I feel like this is one you could get at the bins a lot that people pass on if there are no holes. All right, another brand, I'm going to call it a seasonal bolo. Because this brand, again, does not typically perform well for me anymore in spring and summer, but in fall and winter, if you have it paired with a good material, can do pretty good. This is a Garnet Hill merino wool cable knit, wide flare sleeve sweater. I listed this for $33. There was a tiny hole in the shoulder, and it did sell for my full asking price of $33. All right, this is an interesting bolo. This is the brand Hardtail Forever. which I don't know. I'm still figuring this out. It seems to have a pretty decent following, but some of their pieces go for very little, and then some of them go for a lot. I've noticed that their tie-dye pieces perform really well. This one was a really gorgeous tie-dye print. I listed it for $35. It's just like a tie-dye top. It did feel pretty high quality though, and it did sell for my full asking price of $35. All right, this is a Bolo designer brand, ATM. I want to say it stands for Anthony Thomas Milano or something like that, but it's the name of the designer. And ATM is a really great brand to be on the lookout for. This is a 100% cashmere sweater. I would have listed this much higher, except this also had a hole, and it was right in the front too. So dropped the price because of that. I listed it for $35. It sold on an offer to watcher for $30. Lots of cashmere with holes. Not saying to pick up cashmere with holes, but if it's a designer brand that would sell for a lot, I feel like you can get it one hole. Somebody would want to repair it. Just drop the price on that and still make some money. All right, next up is We The Free. I'm selling a lot of We The Free thermals, so I thought I would mention this. Every year thermals do pretty well for me. This is an interesting, like, kind of cowl off the shoulder thermal. This was called the Skyline thermal, and pretty good sell-through rate on this. I listed it for $30. It sold on an offer to watcher for $25. This is a Madewell piece. This is another brand I've kind of held off on. I try to stick to their more recent styles. This was made in 2020 and the more substantial pieces. So again, kind of a seasonal bolo in a way. I listed this, I believe, back in summer, which is why I've dropped the price. It ended up selling for $24. I feel like if I would have listed it like now, I could have gotten probably closer to $35, but the cards landed where they did, and that's how much it sold for, but definitely a piece in Madewell that I would get today. Next up is another belt. This is a men's Abercrombie and Fitch belt. You can see it does have like pretty normal wear for its age, but pretty good comps on this. I listed this for $30, and even with the wear, it sold for $25. So again, belts are so easy to list. They're small. I feel like it's a section not everybody goes to. If you can learn, what to look for in belts, it can be a really fantastic category to add. Next up is another cool piece. I wanted to show you this one because I wasn't sure if you guys are aware. If you find ALF, ALF, that is by Cool, and pretty good following for this one as well. I listed this for $27, and it did sell for my full asking price, and it's just a little fleece vest. It did have a little bit of wear. Next up, this is a newer brand to me, but one I've been picking up in larger sizes. It is Andre by Unit, and their larger size pieces, or their heavily embroidered ones, perform pretty well. They remind me a lot of Johnny Was, but definitely do not sell for as much as Johnny Was. I listed this for $30, and it sold on an offer to watcher for $25. It's a little velvet embroidered top in a size large. Okay, this has become a pretty interesting like bread and butter for me. It is J. Crew midi length dresses. After I did that J. Crew deep dive and realized how many like midi maxi length dresses were selling, I was like, I want to give these a try when I find them. So I'm still going to be picking these up. I just priced them around $35, and they've been selling really well. So this is a J. Crew women's tartan plaid tiered midi dress. Tartan plaid, especially in a red, is very popular right now for the holidays. So I thought that helped to add some value. I listed this for $30, and it did sell for my full asking price. Last one on eBay before we jump on over to Poshmark. Comment down below if you're still with me because you made it through half of the video. I feel like this video is going to be so long. This is an LL Bean kids jacket. This is something I look for every year, are kids jackets in the popular brands, the same as the adult brands. They can do really well. This one I got thinking that I would be able to get some of the flaws out of it, but it ended up having a lot of spots on it still. I I still listed it and I just dropped the price. If it would have been in great condition, I probably would have listed for $35 to $40 on this LL Bean kids down jacket, because it was also fleece lined. But I dropped the price to $25 just to get it to move. It sold really quickly at my full asking price. So I'm telling you guys, there is a lot of value in kids jackets if you know which ones to get. And LL Bean can definitely be a good brand to look for. All right, moving on to the Poshmark pieces. This is FootJoy, which is, well, I think they sell women's too, but this is a men's gathered waist zip pullover, new with tags. So lots of value there. Still picking up FootJoy. This brand has also dropped a little bit on sell-through rates. So I'm trying to stick to the larger sizes, or, you know, some factor stacking. So this one was new with tags, but it did have a light stain on the shoulder, which I think impacted the price. Does it say? No, it does not say the original price. Well, it ended up selling for $55 on Poshmark, which I thought was great. All right, next up is a Torrid piece. I love selling Torrid plus size pieces. I just did that plus size deep dive video and talked about Torrid on that video. But Torrid larger sizes, this one is a 5X, can perform really well. And obviously they're outerwear pieces. This is a puffer vest in a size 5X, and it went for $40, which I felt was really good for a pre-owned Torrid. Next up, we talked about this brand in the Poshmark Trends deep dive video. This is Johnny O. Poshmark says that Johnny O is like increasing in popularity during this time of the year. I'm going to call this a seasonal bolo. I would have thought, since Johnny O is kind of a beachy brand, that it would be better in summer. But I think it's similar to John Varvatos, where it performs better in fall and winter. So I'm going to be looking for the more wintry pieces like the zip pullovers and things like that. This is a 5-pocket pair of brown pants by Johnny O, and it sold for $30. All right, this is a Lululemon piece. I don't have much to say about this other than I am struggling the same way you guys are with selling Lululemon. I can no longer pick up every single piece I find. So I'm having to really do my comps on the style, the size, you know, even sometimes the color to determine whether to get it or not. So I'm passing on a lot of Lululemon these days. And I just wanted to mention that because I'm not picking everything up again, and I'm having the same struggle you guys are with it. These were the Lululemon Wonder Unders. They were a size 6, and the only reason I got these was because they had some interesting print all over them, and I think that helped to sell them. These ones sold for $42 on Poshmark. All right, next up, we talked about blazers and J. Crew a lot. This is a sweater blazer, which sweater blazers as a category are performing really well for me right now. So this is a J. Crew sweater blazer, size medium in black. It went for $50 pre-owned. Telling you guys, J. Crew blazers, keep your eye out. All right, next up is a brand that has been performing really well for me. So I'm happy to say it is a bolo for me right now. They do tend to sell more like summery pieces, linens and things like that. So I think this one's just rayon. Yeah, it's rayon. But again, comps are still looking good, so I'm still picking it up. However, keep your eye on the comps because that might change. This is Habitat, and this is a size extra large. They make very login looky, tunicky pieces. This is a jacket, and it sold for $30. All right, Spanx is a brand that has performing extremely well. I would also consider this kind of a seasonal bolo. Their leggings and pants perform better in fall and winter. And right now, even the leggings for me, I'm really struggling with selling. So I'm trying to stick to the like wide legs, the flares, the boot cuts, the straight legs, and things like that. And I'm really diving into what the style is called. They do have style numbers. Not sure if we have them pictured here. But they do have style numbers, or you can do a Google Lens, but it can make a big difference on comps, so definitely look up the style. These ones were called the Perfect High Rise Flare Pant in a size medium, and they were black. I listed them high because, like I said, I did my research and I learned that this style is very popular right now. If I would have just looked up Spanx flare pants, I might not have gotten the same results. So very important to figure out the style. So these are the perfect high-rise flare pants, and they sold for $72 on Poshmark. Crazy good deal. All right, next up is a brand I'm still loving selling. It is Ming Wang. This is another one that does not have 100% sell-through rate. However, I'm willing to sit on it because it always sells for like around $40. This one sold for $35, which I was okay with because it was 3/4 sleeve. It was kind of more, I wouldn't say it's summery, but it's, you know, a little bit less substantial cardigan because it was 3/4 length sleeve, and it went for $35. Here's another Garnet Hill, again just showing you how seasonal this brand is. This is a ribbed cashmere sweater in a size small, just plain black, and it went for $42. All right, this brand, you guys. This is Cuddle Duds, which is kind of like a loungy pajama brand, comfort brand. It does not sell for a lot. I will not lie to you. But it could be a good brand to pick up like for $1 or at the bins. It has a really good sell-through rate. Obviously do your comps on your specific piece and size, but I've just noticed it performs really well in terms of sell-through rate. So this one was purchased at a pretty low cost. This is a tunic top in a size extra large. It sold for $16. Again, I know that's not a ton, but really good sell-through rate on Cuddle Duds. I just sold in a Whatnot show a plus size Cuddle Duds fleece like cardigan, and it went for quite a bit. It was like $40 or $50 that thing went for. So depending on the piece, it can actually go for quite a bit. All right, this one is more of a factor stacking piece. This is the brand Oak Hill, not typically a brand I get, but this is, you know, we talked about velvet before. People like wearing velvet during this time of the year. This was a really gorgeous men's blazer. It was a blue velvet, had some like paisley lining. It just really stood out. Had some hard time photographing it because of the sheen from the velvet. However, it did end up selling pretty quickly for $48. All right, this is Lily Pulitzer. This is another summery brand I am still getting. This is a size extra large. I've noticed that UPF stuff is still performing well in dresses, so I'm still getting like, you know, sun protection stuff. Maybe a tip for you. Again, I don't know how long that's going to last, but right now the comps are still good for it. So this is the Sophie dress in a size extra large with UPF. It sold for $65 on Poshmark. All right, this is more bread and butter, but it is the Wrangler Riggs workwear. These had a couple things going for it. They were cargo, they were ripstop, and they had some leather patches, kind of carpenter style. They went for $26. This is Jude Connolly. This does not have 100% sell-through rate. However, I've learned if I price it slightly lower, I can get it to move. It's very thick, like nylon feel dress, kind of like that scuba material, which was a good indicator to me that it might be a decent brand. They very like J. McLaughlin vibes in my opinion. I usually price these around like $30 to $40 and they sell pretty well. This dress went for $29 on Poshmark. Here's another J. Crew dress. This one was not midi length, however it was a larger size in a size 16. It was long sleeve, it was floral. Again, since people aren't buying as many dresses, I feel like you really need to factor stack. I would not have purchased this, I don't think, if it were short sleeve. So the fact that it was long sleeve made up for the fact that it wasn't a midi to maxi length and it was a larger size. This one went for $30 and it was just a floral kind of mixed print dress. All right, next up is Aloe Yoga. This is a brand that I've been struggling with. I used to be able to pick up everything in this brand. Not the case anymore. So kind of like Lululemon, I'm really looking up the specific pieces. This was their Cool Fit line. Set it right above the brand. And this actually did pretty decent. It is a Cool Fit athletic jacket, had thumb holes, kind of thicker material. And it went for $36 on Posh. This is the brand Tuckernuck. I would absolutely keep your eye out for Tuckernuck and all of its like sublines. These are just a pair of pull-on pants. They were size extra small, kind of plain. They went for $35. Had this been, multicolor or something, it definitely would have went for a lot more. But in general, Tuckernuck is a really great brand to look for. All right. Duluth women's larger size pants have been performing really well for me, so I'm keeping my eye out for the Duluth larger size women's pants. This is another brand that I feel like has dropped, and you really have to know what you're looking for. These were called the Rootstock gardening pants. They were floral and they were a size 18. They sold for $31. All right, next up, this is a bread and butter for me during this time of the year, but they are men's fleece-lined sweatpants by the brand Nike. And bonus if you find it in a larger size. This is a size large. These are the club fleece sweatpants. I can usually only get 25 to 30 for them, but they are a pretty consistent seller. These ones sold for $24. This is a bolo when it comes to plus sizes. This is just barely plus size, but this is a Foxcroft women's 14W button-down top. Really great sell-through rates in the plus sizes, and the larger size you go, the more you can get. This one kind of had a contrast cuff, which I think helped to add value, and it sold for $29. All right, I have a really good streak with camo pieces. Earlier this year, this is one that did not sell very quickly, I think because I priced it too high. I think I had this priced over $100 originally. I don't know if it's ASAT or ASAT or ASAT, but this brand is pretty decent, and I looked this up because I had a very unique camo. If you guys see unique camo prints, I would absolutely look them up. There were certain ones that can go for tons of money. This was one of those pieces. This one sold for $75, which is crazy. All right, this is a J. Jill piece. I love picking up J. Jill in plus size only, pretty much. I make rare exceptions, but plus size and J. Jill performs extremely well for us. This is a button-up tunic top in a 3X, and it sold for $28. Birkenstocks, obviously we're looking at Birkenstocks. They sell really well during this time of the year. These are ones that definitely had quite a bit of wear throughout, but they were so unique I thought it would be worth getting. They are a men's London oiled leather clogs in a larger size, and they sold for $70 even with that wear. So if you see some kind of unique Birkenstocks, even with wear, they might be worth getting. Had these been in better condition, I would have listed them for over $100. So happy with that sale. All right, this is kind of a niche thing, but it's Black Rifle Coffee Company. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that brand, but they do a lot of good things. And so I figured it would be worth looking up. It was a quilted camo hoodie. It went for $30. I was hoping to get more, but the patch was starting to come off, so there was a little bit of wear that I didn't notice. Still pretty good for $30. All right, I've noticed that all of the popular athletic wear brands in athletic wear dresses with the shorts underneath and also jumpsuits are performing really well right now. No idea why. This is Sweaty Betty. It is a jumpsuit. It was called the Gary long sleeve jumpsuit, and it went for $36. Here is another Talbot's plus size piece. Again, factor stacking with this one. This is a 16W. It was new with tags. Style was called Hampshire, and it was houndstooth, which added a lot of value. These went for $35. All right, this was a really surprising sale for me. I went back and forth on this at the thrift store. I picked it up, did comps on it, did not see a good sell-through rate, but a couple of them that had sold went for quite a bit. So I was like, I don't know, going back and forth. Do I pick it up? Do I not? It just felt so high quality and had a gorgeous colorway to it that I had to get it at the thrift store. I was like, I'm taking a chance, and I was glad I did because it actually sold really quickly for me. This was a silk blend tunic top by the brand Alicia Bell, and went for $42. I priced high. I was like, if I'm going to risk it, I'm going to price high. To my surprise, it sold very quickly. So, don't discount something I guess I should say this carefully. Most of the time, if you're trying to follow our sell-through rate model, most of the time, if you want things to sell quickly, I would stick to the comps. But if you've got a really strong gut feeling about something and the quality is there, I do think it's worth taking risks on. Not frequently, but ones you have really good feelings about. And this was one of those pieces, and it definitely paid off. All right, this brand is similar to, oh, what brand did I just show you? Ming Wang. This brand's similar to that, kind of a more mature brand, make office-y pieces. This is Masuk. Sometimes you'll see exclusively Masuk. This is a really gorgeous floral blouse. It went for $46 pre-owned, so keep your eye out for that. One keyword we started putting in stuff like this is church, kind of like a church outfit. I noticed that I was doing some research on Google Trends, and I saw that people were searching church outfit a lot. So anything I can apply that to, I am. All right, next up is another plus size J. Jill. This is another tunic top and a 2X. It went for $23. Again, more bread and butter, but worth getting if you know it sells quickly. Here's an Athleta piece. This is similar to Lululemon. I've really slowed down on Athleta. It depends on the style, and I've noticed that the newer labels, which tend to be the ones that sell, have this style right here on the material tag. So these are called the Grace warm-up pants. Pretty much anything Athleta, wide leg or flare leg or straight, anything but the skinny leggings tend to perform well in pants. These are a size extra large, and they sold for $29 on Posh. Here's another pair of Spanx. These were also the perfect pants. These are a size large. They were more of like a boot cut straight leg, and they were a little bit cropped. They went for $40 on Posh. Here's another bread and butter I thought I would share with you. These can be good to pick up maybe at the bins. A lot of factor stacking went into this, so just be cautious, but it is Old Navy. I love sharing my Old Navy sales with you just because I come across it so often, and I hate that people pass on it if there's enough factors there. So this was an Old Navy plus size corduroy wide leg pair of pants. They went for $22, which I felt was really good bread and butter if you could find something like this at the bins or for a couple bucks on a sale. Again, lots of factors involved. Corduroy pants in both women's and men's, especially men's, really high sell-through rate right now. So it's going to be a factor that adds a ton of value during the season. Once we move out of fall and winter, that will significantly drop. So it's definitely a seasonal bolo. All right, this is another blazer. This is by Free People. I've actually found Free People blazers to perform pretty well. Here we are with another kind of luxy velvety material. This went for $39, and it was called the Jagger Velvet Tuxedo Cape. So I guess it was more like a cape blazer, but still a blazer look. All right, and lastly is a brand. It performs good in other sizes too, but the high sell-through rate is in the plus sizes. This is Ally Miles. They make kind of like artsy login-looky stuff. So this is a cowl neck top in a size 1X, multicolor, lots of good factors there. So I priced it higher, and it went for $42 on Poshmark.
All right, guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up on your way out. I know this is like your favorite video series. They are a lot of work, but I love putting them out for you guys because they are also some of my favorite videos to watch. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.